are here at the Cimarron Valley Research Station, and joining me today is Becky Carroll, and she is a senior agriculturist for Oklahoma State University. And Becky, we've been talking a lot about soil nutrition and fertility, but grapes and pecans are a little bit different. So you're going to talk to us today about testing our pecan trees and doing foliar sampling. As a pecan grower, what do we need to do?
Well, for homeowners or pecan growers who produce pecans commercially, tissue sampling is a good way to know exactly what type of fertilizer they need for the next season. And so we recommend that growers or homeowners sample their trees once a year in mid-July. That's the time frame that they need to sample them.
Okay. And how do we go about that process?
Well, on pecans, we're going to find the middle leaf on this terminal. And so each one of these are compound leaves. So this is a leaf, and this is a leaf, this is a leaf. So we're going to find this middle leaf. So it's probably, we'll say it's this one right here.
Okay.
Of this current season's growth. So you can see where the new growth starts and the old growth was from last year. So we're going to find this middle leaf, this compound leaf, and we're going to find the middle pair of leaflets, which is probably this pair right here. And we just snap them off, and this is our sample from this terminal.
Okay.
And then we'll go to the next terminal to get another one. Let me not hit you right here.
So on
this one, we'll find the middle leaf. So it's probably this one. The middle pair, we don't have to be exact, just in the general area. The middle pair of leaflets, and it usually just snaps right off, just like that.
Now this one's been chewed on. Would you want to take this one or leave that?
Ideally, you want to get leaflets that aren't damaged by any type of disease or insect feeding, mechanical injury. You'd want to have something that is a whole leaf.
Okay.
And if you do have a tree that has some suspicious leaves, you can sample it separately to see if you've got a deficiency problem in that also.
Okay.
But on our leaf samples, we want to sample native trees separately from improved varieties, and anything that we manage differently from one area to another. Maybe a different soil type or a different area on the farm, maybe upland versus a lower area. So those would be sampled separately. But we would go around, either if you're a homeowner, collect 100 leaflets off of your tree or trees. And then for a commercial grower on a big pecan operation, they would collect probably several samples, just kind of make a pattern across through their orchard and collect leaves as they go. And then we want to take these, and because these might have been sprayed with a fungicide or insecticide, or you may be next to a dirt road that has a lot of debris that's in the air, we're going to take these leaflets back and we're going to rinse them off really quickly, not soak them in the water, but just rinse them off, lay them out to air dry, and then once they're dry, we'll put them in either a paper sack.
Now when you say dry, do we want them dried crispy or?
That would be good if they're dried completely where they'll be crumbly.
Okay.
And then put them in a paper sack and label it with your name and what it is and the location, so you'll know when you take it to the county office what it is, and you can get the right results for the right area. Okay. But those would be clean, and you'd put them in the bag and then just take that to your county office. I didn't mention also, whenever you're sampling, you don't want to collect in like a galvanized bucket, or use something that maybe you've, a plastic bucket that's had fertilizer or something like that, because the galvanized bucket can really mess up your zinc readings. Okay.
Get some cross-contamination.
Contamination, right. Okay. So be sure and use something clean, or just take out a paper sack to take your samples in, and then wash them and then use another sample bag.
And now your extension office will transfer it to one of these foliage bags or forage bags.
Right.
And this test costs?
It costs $20. Okay. And whenever you get your results back, it will tell you exactly what you need on nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. It'll also look at calcium and magnesium, and then the other minor nutrients also, like boron and zinc and iron. And so it will tell you if you're deficient and if you need to apply a foliar spray, or if you're adequate and you don't need to apply any fertilizer.
Okay.
So if you're a commercial pecan grower, that's, it could be quite a savings. Spending that $20 could save you a lot of money not having to apply fertilizer at all. And if you're putting out fertilizer when you don't need it, it's just going into the environment. It's added money that you're spending that you don't need to be.
Right,
So.
and you said pecans can be sensitive to zinc deficiency based off of your pH. And so you might not know until you really test the foliage of your pecan tree.
Right. We do recommend doing soil samples about every 5 years and before you plant your trees, just to get a good idea of where your pH is and your phosphorus and potassium. But because your pH can vary quite a bit, and the nutrients will vary also. Some of the nutrients will not be available to the tree. So if we sample the leaves, we know exactly what that tree can take up. Like zinc, if you have a low pH and there's zinc in the soil, then it can get up into that tree pretty readily. But in some areas where the pH is higher, then the tree can't absorb the zinc and we have to apply it foliarly.
Okay.
And on zinc, we usually recommend 2 to 3 sprays during the summer on most pecan trees.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's go take a look at the grapes and see how to test those then. So Becky, we have some grapevines here, and we're going to test the petiole on these.
Right.
Can you tell me about that process?
All right, so on a petiole is actually this, if we pull off a leaf, it's going to be the portion that attaches the leaf to the shoot. So it's actually this part of the leaf that we want to keep, and we'll just discard the leaf blade and just keep the petiole.
Okay.
So on some varieties it's quite large, like on this one, this is a Cynthiana, it's American type grape, but some of the European grapes, they're a little bit smaller, and some are even smaller than this one. So if you're collecting small petioles, you may want to collect a few more, maybe 150, whereas 100 of the regular large petioles will be enough.
Okay. And we don't just randomly go grab leaves?
No, we want to collect the petiole that it's usually about the 6th or 7th mature leaf on the shoot up from the end. So, and it's usually just adjacent or opposite of a cluster. So if we look at this, these are actually kind of a flush of secondary growth from another bud. So we would count this as probably our first fully mature leaf right here. Okay. These are smaller. And then, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's usually 6th or 7th leaf, and we're just opposite of a cluster. So we just snap it off and then remove the leaf blade, and that's what we're after.
And that's what we're going to keep?
That's what we're going to keep.
Okay.
And we want 100 of these, and it's probably best if you've been spraying anything to go ahead and take them back, rinse them off really quickly, and then we want to submit these to our county office immediately. We don't want to let them dry out like our pecan leaves. Okay. So we want to go ahead and collect them and then take them to our county office for them to submit to the lab. And it is still $20 for the tissue sampling, and we'll get the same results back from the lab, and it'll tell us what we need to do for our grapes for this next spring.
Excellent.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.